Now we're going to do a buzzer, Chironomid Pupa. As you know, Chironomid pupas, or buzzers as we call them, they are without a doubt, I should say, at least 80% of a stillwater trout's diet. Certainly in spring. In spring it might be 100% of a stillwater trout's diet, particularly in the big reservoirs in the Midlands like Rutland, Graffham, Chew, Blagden, out in the West Country. So it's a buzzer. Here's some buzzers I've been playing about with using FlexiBody. It's a new design of mine. It's the body is constructed completely hollow. The actual FlexiBody that I use as the time medium leaves the hook shank, and that body is hollow, so you get a see-through effect. Now, frankly, it makes a nice black buzzer, but because of black FlexiBody being virtually opaque, you don't see. It's not nearly as translucent as the other colours. That's more or less 90% of the fly is this FlexiBody. And of course, it's a translucent film. It's just translucent vinyl, so you can see through that, you can see the guts of the fly in effect. And it makes a very, very attractive artificial. So I'm going to use one of these Partridge K14 STs, these emerger hooks, which have got a nice bright nickel plated finish, which is the finish I want. And they've also got this nice continuous curved shank, just right for the curvature of a buzzer. So first thing I'll do is knock down the barb with a resounding plop, and there she goes. And I'm tying with the dreaded spiderweb, 17/0 spiderweb. The reason I'm using spiderweb, I don't want a very obtrusive thread. I want a thread that's going to virtually disappear. So I put that on, lay it across the shank, pull till the tip nearly disappears, wrap forward, and then come back on myself. And then come down the shank in very open turns. In fact, you can actually pull it round the corner. And right there, near the actual jaws, part the thread. Any extra spiderweb just knock off. And now for the rib, I'm using this sort of burgundy red Unimylar, and it's red on one side and sort of a bottle green on the underside. If you can't get this, no problem, just use fine red holographic. So take off a strand. This is only about 0.5 millimetre wide, is this. Tie this in and tie it in with the green face uppermost, right near the jaws of the vise. 3 or 4 thread wraps. Part the thread again. Don't bother at this stage trimming the waist off. You can do that in a minute. Get me FlexiBody. This, it's sort of a, well, it's almost an olivey lime green, if that makes sense. Snip a piece off about 2 millimetres wide, and try to keep your cut going nice and parallel. If it opens out just slightly, go slightly wider, that's not bad, but don't go narrower. You want enough room to make a nice overlap. Peel off the backing strip. Just poke your scissors in to strip it off. And now in the end, cut in a little diagonal tying-in tip. And now tie this in right where you tied the ribbon material in. And just lasso it and then get it in. Once you've caught the tip, check that it's in tight by pulling it. And now come back up the shank in a very wide open spiral to the hook eye. So now I run the rib now up the body, a continuous series of these nice red ribs all the way up the abdomen. Try to keep the spacing quite even all the way up. when you get to the hanging thread, just make 3 or 4 on the spot there. Come back with your thread and tie off. And trim off the waste. And now tie in the wing buds. For the wing buds I'm using this nice bright orange raffine. Wing buds in orange are quite popular. Pink's another nice colour. Creamy white's another nice colour, but today everybody seems to like nice orangey yellow wing buds. And at one stage, plastic off Doritos crisp packets were all the rage. But this is nice also. Take off a strip about 4 or 5 millimetres wide, say 1/4 inch wide. Moisten it. Offer it in across the thread and fold it. Bring the 2 ends together and now just come up like that. Just like that, you just fold it round and draw it up to the underside. Let the raffine open and make 3 or 4 more thread wraps there. And now bring your tying thread to the front, and then bring these forward, and I want to just temporarily tether those down just so that they're sticking forward and out of the way. But don't throw on a whip finish, because you've got to be able to undo it and take it back at a later date. So it's just a temporary fixing, that's all. So now pick up your flexi body. You have to pass it round your bobbin and just make sure it snugs securely on the first wrap. That's the important one. And now come along, and as you wind along, because I'm making overlaps, this flexi body will start to leave the hook shank, and it will in fact make a hollow cone. So I'm making overlaps of about 1/3 to 1/2 the width of the strip, and you can see now that the flexi body is actually leaving the hook. The body is in fact wobbling, and you get these nice dark bars where I get the overlaps because you're looking through 2 thicknesses of flexi body. When I get to there, I undo those strips of raffine, bring my tying thread forward, moisten the wing buds, give them a good wetting, make them really moist, maintain tension on your flexi body, and take these back. I'm just going to shorten my working thread. Bring these back, just get hold like that, and hold these back quite firmly. Trap the raffine with that flexi body. Come round again and progress now towards the head of the fly, at which stage you drop your thread over, tie off, tie off, tie off, tie off, tie off. Now you can see it's hollow because you can see it wobbling. Now what I do, I bring my thread to the front, to the eye, and I make a little trap there. Bring your flexi body back and make a little raised flange at the front like that. That puts your flexi body in line over the back. Now come back with your flexi body, fold forward again and tie down. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a set of steps. I'm going to make a series of little backwards and forwards cascades to build up this little lump at the front. And when I've done about that many, I'll put my breathers in. For breathers, I'm going to use this white Moser Power Silk. I know that the modern reservoir lads today don't bother with breathing filaments, but you can put them in dead easy. I just folded it once and fold it again, so I've made altogether there's 4 pieces there. Lay it on top and tie down, and then take another thread wrap going across, I'm just going to remove some of this excess because it's annoying me, and then tether that down to that side and that down to this side. So I've just drawn them forward, tie down, and then what I do, I just touch that with a tiny drop of super glue. And now moisten the wing buds again, because you're getting ready for the last process now. Fold that back, trap there, and that should just push these 2 little breathing tufts forwards. And now crush down, tie down, and now run the thread right off that hump and tie down. And now with your scissors, just come round, sever that off. Bring the tying thread back up here, moisten the raffine. You really do want this nice and wet for tying in. Bring the wing buds forward, hold them like that, come round with a cross hand wrap and catch down, and again, and again, and then trim off those little waste ends. Now I can get that down as close as I possibly can, because the whole of this is going to be sealed with hard as nails or something similar. And in there do a whip finish. And there's no need to do a lot of whip finishes, because the whole of the top of this is going to be sealed with clear hard as nails. So if you do 3 or 4 passes, that's ample. That's the tying completed. 1 or 2 little last primping jobs to do before I trim the breathers to length. If this white tying thread annoys you, just touch it out with an olive marker pen, permanent marker pen. In fact, I just like to darken the thorax a little bit, particularly the underside there. So just darken those thread wraps. So all I've got to do now is seal this head capsule and put a little bit of shape into it. I'm using this Rimmel Faster. You can use hard as nails, it's just the same stuff. It's like a nail varnish with a polymer in to stop it chipping. So it's a little bit flexible. I like this because I can let a bead drop and pull a little globule, a little droplet round. So just round that sort of forehead part off, and drop it on and let it sag down. It's like playing with epoxy almost. And I just round that off with my finger, just radius it off. So now here's some new stuff, some thinner hard as nails or top coat. Just give the wing bud a waterproofing. Do that one, go underneath and do the underside. So that's that little job done. So now all I have to do is to trim the breathers off to length. So do one at a time. Use serrated scissors. And this power silk. Gel spun polyester is a devil to cut. But of course, once these breathers are in, they're in for good, because nothing will chew them off, and they won't wear off. So there you are. That's my little buzzer pattern. I've used it now for a few years on one of our upland tarns in Yorkshire, and it's worked really well for me. I'm sure if you find out the favourite colours of the buzzers on your still water, your local still water, and you match the naturals with this tying, I'm sure you'll find you'll do some damage amongst your fish. It's a great pattern.